crafters, and welcome to the Crafty Corner. I'm Miss Lisa, and I have a craft for you today. Remember that we are in our summer reading program. If you haven't come down to the library yet, please come and sign up. We have all kinds of really cool prizes for you for reading over the summer. Today, I was thinking about another way that we see color in our world. Now, the Chippewa Indians are very colorful people, and one of the things that they developed was the dream catcher. Okay, and they believed in their culture that the dream catcher would catch the bad dreams and allow the good dreams to go through. And so I thought, we haven't made one of these on the Crafty Corner yet, and so why not make one, because they're so colorful. So come on down to the library and get a packet, because you need a lot of things for this craft. You need 2 paper plates. You need strips of colorful paper. I have printed out some cute little feathers. Okay, we have some pony beads, we have some little pom-poms, we have colorful flowers, and so we have all of this stuff. We have yarn as well. So come on down to the library. The packets will be ready for you to be able to assemble this dream catcher. All right, so I'm going to set mine aside and I'm going to show you what to do. The first thing is that we need to cut out the hole on these paper plates. So you've probably have seen me do this before. We're going to take our paper plate and fold it in half and make a little cut. And once we've made that little cut, we can go in with our scissors and follow that circle all the way around. Try to be as precise as you can with both paper plates so that they match up. Okay, so there's our first one, and remember that you can throw away your trash when you're done. You can always come back in and shape it up a little bit if you would like. So one more time, we fold the paper plates in half, make a little cut, open it back up, use that cut to put the point of your scissors in, and then zoom around the circle that is on the middle of the paper plate. So nice that paper plate companies make that circle there for us. I'm sure that they thought about crafting when they did that. Probably not really. Okay, so there's our 2 circles. Now, we're eventually going to lay the 2 on top of each other. It's going to cover up all the stuff that we do on the inside. So the first thing we're going to do is take our strips of paper, and I know our paper is too long, but you need it long enough to be able to glue down. So you're just going to glue some of your strips, whatever color you want, across the center of these circles to be able to supposedly catch the bad dreams. All right, so we're going to take our white glue, and I am going to make some globs of glue on either side where I'm going to lay the strip of paper. Try to lay about a whole inch on both sides in that glue, and then cut off that extra length, okay? All right, so there's my first one, and then I'm going to lay another one over here, and it's going to come over here. Doesn't have to go straight across. If you've ever seen other dream catchers, it's all windy, and sometimes they use, wires or ribbons and other things to go inside the dream catcher. So let's make one go from here to here. And now we do have some Native American books at the library. We have some of their like their folk tales. So I brought Buffalo Woman today, and I brought the Northeast Nations, which is the Chippewa Indian Nation, is from the Northeast. So lots to learn about the Native American culture. And if you ever study any of their dress and the different ways that they have their ceremonial dresses and their headdresses, man, they can show a lot of color. So it looks like I need one more crisscross. Let's use the purple up over here. All right. So again, there's no right or wrong to this. Just and if you don't like how fat these strips are, you can cut them and make them thinner. So it's totally up to you. Okay, so now I've got this part of the dream catcher ready, and later we're going to glue this here on top of there. All right, I'm going to let that set aside to dry a minute. The part that's going to take you the longest is putting the feathers on each of the pieces of yarn. I think they're going to give you one huge length of yarn. So you're going to want to cut those in about 1 foot or maybe about 15 inches worth of length. So I've already completed some. You'll see I've made a knot above where I put the feather, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I have a length of yarn here. Let's use this one. Okay, and I'm going to go up about 3 inches or so and make a knot. You're going to try to, this is a little bit tricky sometimes because making one knot's not too hard, but the beads will slide over one. So you're going to want to make 2 and again a 3rd so that the beads don't slide off. Okay. Once you have that, you can put your feather on. And I tried gluing my feathers and that didn't work at all. So I'm taking a piece of tape and sticking it on top of that yarn and then just really creasing it on either side of the yarn so that that feather will stay on that yarn. Once I have that part done, you will have a whole bunch of pony beads. You can decide which ones to put where. So, and if your end starts to fray, you can either cut it or wet it down just a little bit. Sometimes you like to stick it in your mouth a little bit and wet it down to create that point that you need for stringing. Okay, that's probably a little better. Whoops, I'm twisting it. And if it gets too frayed, you just have to cut it down. My goodness. Okay, see if I can pull it through. And one more bead and pull it through. Okay. And that might be a little too high, actually. I'm just going to let it go. So decide on how much string you want to be, how much yarn you want to show above the knot where your beads are. Okay, so, all right, here's where we've put this. This is going to go on top of this. So what we want is not to mess with that, but to mess with this one. So where these holes are, we are going to string. I'm going to put this one right through here. Okay, and then I'm going to tie it off and make a knot. Okay, and then you're going to, you can see here I got about 3 inches of yarn where the beads and then the feather hang down. Trim off any extra. So then I'm going to stick this one in here and just make a knot. This project will take some time, boys and girls, but when you get it all done, you will have yourself a cool little dream catcher. Okay, and then this one, I guess I'm going to stick it right next to this one because I didn't leave myself too many holes here. You might need to be thinking about that. And I'm trying to sort of measure how far I pulled this yarn to as to where my feather and beads hang. So a lot of sort of thinking about some math here, some measuring to make sure things are going to line up all right when you're done with your final project. Because once we lay this on top, you're not going to be able to go back in and change anything. Okay, and then my other two, I guess, are going to have to go through this hole here. And make a knot. And trim off any extra. The reason we trim off the extra is like I said, we're going to glue this on top of that, and the less little bumps we have to deal with, the flatter it's going to lay. I guess I'll go ahead and stick this one over here. All right, so make a knot. And then also, before we put the cover on it, we want to, I think, let me look at this one. Yeah, I think we want to go ahead and take your longer string and we can put it through here too to make a hanger for it. That way everything is hidden by the top cover part. Make a knot here. And actually I could hide the knot on the inside if I wanted to. Trim that off. and it will cover up when we put the other paper plate on top. Okay, so there's our hanger. But you know, no, boys and girls, do you see what I just did? If I hang it there, it's all gonna go sideways. Well, you know what? I'm gonna cut that off. I'm gonna actually, you might wanna be thinking about this. Leave yourself a little space. So right halfway up is over this yellow one. So I am gonna want my where I hang it up over here. So that it hangs evenly. So then I'm gonna move that purple back over there. Okay, so that's something to think about too. I'm glad I sort of made that little mistake so that you have an idea. Now I suppose at the end you could just hole punch the final product if you wanna put a knot, you know, and put your hanger in at the end. That's another way of doing it. Okay. Now that I think I've got that nice and even where it's gonna hang pretty, I'm going to take this, and my purple is not wanting to lay flat, is it? So you could even glue these on top of each, you know, put some glue on each of those where they overlap each other so that they lay flat. That'd be something else you could do. Now we are gluing over all of this yarn and over all of this paper, and paper plate to paper plate. Let me move all this down a little bit. You are going to want a significant amount of glue. So I am going to put a lot of glue in here like this. Okay, and then we're gonna make sure everything is flat as best as you can, and then lay the other paper plate on top, and it covers up all that stuff so nicely. Now, the last thing to do is to decorate this part of your dream catcher. So you could paint it, you could put markers on it. What I chose to do was get some little flowers and decorate it with some flowers. Okay, any way to add a little bit more color to your dream catcher, because our summer theme is Color Our World. So we're gonna use lots of colors this summer in all kinds of projects. So just put some, and I would suggest using your white glue, once again, because all of this is trying to stick on top of each other and glue stick is just not gonna hold it. Okay, so I'm laying all of my flowers sort of on the left-hand side of the dream catcher, but you could spread them out or do whatever. Then I've also given you little pom-poms of lots of pretty colors. And to put a pom-pom on top of each of these flowers, you're going to need a nice big dot of glue. Now, if you have actual glue dots at home, that might really work. That would be something you could try if you wanted to. So then we're adding a little touch of color on top of each of these flowers, just like that. Now, if we stand this up right away, those pom-poms are gonna fall right off. So I suggest that you just leave your dream catcher and wait an hour or so before you try to pick it up. But I wanna pick it up real quick just to show you the finished product here, and let's see if I actually have it where it's gonna hang in a nice, I do, look, I found the center and it's hanging really nicely. And I've spread out all the beads and the flower, or the beads and the feathers, so that looks really cool. What do you think, boys and girls? I know this is gonna take you a while, but your finished product will be awesome. All right, thank you so much for watching the Crafty Corner. I'm Miss Lisa, and I will have another craft for you next week. So tune in and watch and see what it will be. Thanks for watching now, bye.